Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another One Piece video. I'm your host, Mr. Lindenberg, joined by your other host, Mr. Versen and Lyn, aka Joshua Trosclair. Versen, my man, how you do? Well, real quick, before I introduce you, let me just let everybody know. So for right now, it'll just be Versen and myself doing the One Piece content and anime/manga content. Our guy Jazz is taking a month break. He will be back September 1st to talk all things One Piece with us. But for right now, it's gonna be the V Man and the L Man. But Versen, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, we talked to Jazz. He said, I'm tired of you guys fighting every episode. I'm gonna let you guys finally work it out of your system, and then I'll come back.
Don't say that, because then people are gonna think that's real.
No, but for real though.
But keep the kayfabe. I get it. I'm a wrestling fan. Keep the kayfabe.
Listen, it already is bad optics on my side. I might as well play into it. All right. So when Jazz comes back and he rips my head off live on camera, then we'll be good. It'll be fine.
Fair enough. But we're here. One Piece is on break. We'll have a new chapter with a chapter review later this week. But we figured let's do just a typical, classic Bros Who Think Town Hall style video where Verse and I are just going to talk One Piece for, 30, 35 minutes. And we're going to just see what theories come up, what characters we want to discuss. I think it's been really important. And me and you have kind of hinted at this for a while now. Let's start with Vegapunk, because that's been something that I think, at least in our reviews, if people have been watching since Egghead has started, that's something where me and you have been, I don't want to say on opposite sides of the fence, but I've had a strong opinion on how I feel about him, and you've been showing, you play devil's advocate to that. So let's talk about Vegapunk. How do you feel now that Egghead is over? Oh, well, not over, almost over. He is now in the grave. Do you still hold blame to Vegapunk as I do, or do you feel that he's a character that because of what he did in his speech, he's redeemed?
Well, yeah, let me just say this. This has always been a discussion about redemption, I find. I always find, as I've stated, Vegapunk is a genius creator. I think he has good intentions. I think he's very Luffy-like in that regard. But it shows what happens whenever you don't, you're not a pirate or you're not part of the Straw Hats, where they can check Luffy or try and help him along a certain direction. Vegapunk has people who have never had loyalty to him except for a few of his satellites. And, he's naive in the way that he's a very high intelligence, relatively low wisdom character. He just wanted to create or whatever, and he didn't necessarily feel the need to control what happens after he created it. And we see what happens whenever you're on the government payroll in One Piece, how bad that can go,
True.
He's shockingly pragmatic about some ways that the world works, where he's like, look, I'm the ultimate scientist. I'm the smartest man around. I need money, though, to get raw materials and do shit. So he knows enough about that. That's why he didn't sign up with Dragon for idealistic reasons. But at the same time, though, anything that Vegapunk makes can be used for evil depending on the system of power that he finds himself in. All that to be said, I think depending on how the last chapter or two of Egghead is, if all of Punk Records gets destroyed and we take out some of these Gorosei or we take out a bunch of these people with them, I think Vegapunk will be vindicated. I'm still pro Vegapunk. I think we're just waiting for him to finally sign his name on this chapter of history,
Okay. Okay, so for me, I still hold blame for him putting some of this stuff out into the world. Can he be redeemed? Now, I will say, depending on how this ends, and if some of these Gorosei go down, then I can definitely see where the redemption comes in at. I still hold his feet to the fire in the sense that you got to be at fault for Lelouch. I know you didn't push the button, but you gave him the power to push the button. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay, now that York is out here, we know that at least the assumption is that we need a Mother Flame to run, Uranus. All right, whatever that sky weapon is, we're doing a lot of assumptions here that that's Uranus. Whatever it is, they need York to make it, and I think York's gonna keep making them for him, or at least attempt to. Well, so as long as that's happening, Vegapunk's name's still getting a little muddied.
I guess, but I would also point out what tangibly...
York's an individual?
Well, no, but also, yes, but what tangibly is the difference between this and a Buster Call? Lucia, The
That's a
erasing
good
and the
point.
cleansing of Lucia is something that's amazing and terrible because of how efficient and surgical it was and how it got done quickly. But the government has always been down to buster call and do basically the same thing. It just leaves ruins behind. And
I
on top of
guess
that, they have had admirals who were super like in the pocket of the government who could have done the same thing almost solo. Like, don't get me wrong, Green Bull would have been able to kill everyone and leave a beautiful island behind, but Green Bull would have still slaughtered all those fucking people. And
true.
who would have been able to stop him outside of maybe Sabo interjecting if he was healthy?
I guess the difference between a Buster Call and this is that we're assuming that if that is Uranus that did that to Lelucia, we're assuming that that's the weapon that is flooding the world. So if that happens more, I guess that's the difference between the Buster Call and that is the potential of flooding the world based upon the attacks.
Well, I don't know if it even does the flood, but I guess that'll be something we have to like.
Yeah, that's something we have to see if happens. But we do know that when Lelucia was destroyed, it made the water levels rise. So
yeah, it did make the water levels
see.
rise, and it also made a crater basically just like Eni's lobby. You know.
Great point, and that'll be a transition. Do you think Eni's lobby was something that was there, an island in that, you know, got put underwater based upon, or maybe not put underwater, got destroyed like Lucia, and thus opened that hole there at Eni's lobby?
Yeah,
or at
I'm
Waters,
pretty much.
yeah, Eni's lobby.
I'm pretty much down for the idea that like basically that, and then you know the Gates of Justice or whatever forming their weird triangle was almost certainly done by the world government for a very specific purpose. It's possible that Nini's lobby was destroyed, and remember, it's a pure daylight thing, so that also throws another weird thing into it. That it was destroyed by Uranus, and then the remaining people who were around, or maybe any survivors of that, were especially fishmen, were then used as slaves to build Impel Down, you know, which forms a triangle with the world base.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, honest. What if, and maybe not even to build Impel, what if Impel Down is the remnants of whatever was there and it just got sunk type situation?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I mean, that Impel Down and then obviously Marineford forming the triangle, they're all interconnected in some way. It's hard to exactly know how it was. It's possible even because it is so close to Marineford that Eni's lobby was maybe like the final island that the Lost Kingdom were maybe trying to push one last siege, and then they just got smited, just like smoked right then and there.
That I could definitely see that happening. That's pretty much all I have on at least that side of the Void Century. I don't know if I in this discussion I have anything else to ask you, Void Century wise. If you have something to bring up, you can. I'll say this. How do you feel about Emeth? Like, I know we've talked about this. I still like your Iron Maiden theory. Do we feel that Emeth was a part of Joy Boy's crew? Do we feel that Emeth was a weapon that they used? If it's an Iron Maiden, was the person inside a part of Joy Boy's crew? How are you feeling about Emeth and us ending Egghead? Do you think we'll get a flashback to him, or you know, that sort of thing?
I feel like Emeth, whatever he ended up being, if he is a soul in the robot suit, or if at this point he's been in the robot suit so long that it's not really worth distinguishing between the two. You know what I mean? Where, yeah, I mean, it's almost like how Laboon is now like part robot, and we know that on the inside. So like, you know, what distinction is Laboon and what distinction is the robot part? You know, and for that matter, does Laboon even make the distinction? I don't think they do. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I like him. I'm very excited to see what we do with him. I do think that if we don't get at least a little bit of taste of something, or at least if it doesn't give us an inkling more information, I feel like it's at least slightly a waste, because it's like we get a cool ally for Joy Boy who's on the move and then does a cool thing, but he does like a suicide bomb. And boy, do the allies of the Straw Hats love, especially in the last few arcs, just suicide bombing. They love that shit. Like, if I were a Straw Hat member, I'd start getting worried of like, boy, Luffy, you're the Lisan Al Gabe. You're making people like do terrorist attacks in your name, and you don't even recognize it. That's
Yeah,
fucked
he
up.
doesn't even accept that he's Joy Boy, honestly. Like, and see, I saw someone say that on TikTok. I mentioned that maybe in, if not the last review, the review before, where people were like, "Gosh, does he constantly have to be like, who's Joy Boy?" You got to realize, Luffy does not acknowledge that he is that. He doesn't know what that is, even though people keep telling him that. He's not gonna.
Well, even
it's
then,
not gonna sink in. He still thinks he has the Gummu Gummu no Mi, bro. Like 100%.
well, I think also part of it is I think no one's really sat down and explained to him like one who's
True.
on his level or knows how to explain it to him. Like, make whatever jokes you want about him, but his brain is built a certain way, and it only retains knowledge a certain way. And it's not just him being stupid; he's also very one directional. Like
True.
I don't think, all jokes aside, I don't think Luffy is stupid enough to where he can't comprehend new things, but the right person has to bring it up to him.
I agree.
And unfortunately, he hasn't really had time to sit down and talk to anyone who, one, knows enough about Joey Boy / Nika, and two, is able to actually like bring that out of him. I think it is something that he will discuss, as we've mentioned before. I don't think he'll ever fully accept the moniker. I don't think that Luffy's what Luffy's about. I don't think Luffy's going to give a fuck about a prophecy. But I think
No,
Luffy
not at all.
You have to couch it in terms of Nakama and people Luffy already knows, not about a long dead prophecy about someone he'll never meet. You know what I mean? Because he does
And I
care
think
about
that's
the
gonna
world,
happen
he does
in
care about
Elbaf.
people. But yeah,
Especially since Elbaf has him as has Sun God Nika as their main god. I assume that more so than Laugh Tale, more so than the Void Century, because I think you save Joy Boy specifically in Laugh Tale. I mean, Joy Boy, the One Piece and all that for Laugh Tale. But interestingly enough, Versen, I think we could get a Sun God Nika flashback or explanation in Elbaf that doesn't necessarily have to be the Joy Boy explanation.
yeah.
Because I feel like there's people, you have Sun God Nika, the original, you have Joy Boy, and then you have Luffy. The Elbaf people, I don't believe, worship Joy Boy. They worship the original Sun God Nika, if that was a real person.
Yeah,
Or the idea of that.
yeah. Like I think Nika's definitely a deity and was believed and worshipped so long that eventually Joy Boy found a fruit, because we know, at least theoretically, the origin of fruits is dreams. So someone or some people have dreamed about Nika long enough to where the fruit manifested. And then obviously Joy Boy was the first person to inherit the fruit, ate it, and now Luffy's the second. So I think you can really go either way. I think the distinction, it's not that it isn't meaningful, but I think like I don't know how Oda personally splits that up, so I'll accept it however he chooses to, because I also think Oda's purposely kept it a little bit ambiguous, and also I think it's just gotten kind of messy outside of an SBS and Oda being like, all right, this is exactly how this shit works. Because
yeah, it's very messy at this point.
You don't want to ruin the romance of the story by having to explain definitions that I honestly think some people are a little too concerned about. I don't think the distinctions at the end of the day are going to that matter, especially because, as we've said before, I don't think Luffy's going to care that much about it. I think he'll think it's cool, and I think he'll get like an idea, but he's not going to do an about face. He'll be like, "Oh, okay, I'm like Joy Boy or whatever. I mean, I'm Luffy, but I'll do Joy Boy ass shit." Like I was already going to do that shit anyway.
Exactly. So, like I'm Luffy. I don't know who this Joy Boy guy is, but whatever. I guess I'd love to meet him. Like Roger said, I'd love to be around him, but I'm not him.
Roger, where he's like, that shit sounds cool as hell. I'm kind of jealous of him.
Mm-hmm. But I definitely agree with that. No. So it'll be interesting. Elbaf, okay, being that's where we're headed. What's some things that you want to see happen in that arc? I guess we'll use this as our Elbaf predictions, because we haven't really done that yet, and this will be something I clipped. So what are some of your Elbaf predictions or things that you want to see happen in Elbaf?
All right, it almost goes without saying, but this is going to be the Usopp arc. Don't get me wrong, Luffy's still important. Everyone's still important. We saw even in Wano, the character where even in Wano / Whole Cake, where it's like
I was gonna say Sanji got his whole cake moment. Yeah. Like Nami had her thing with Arlong arc. Robin had her thing with Enies Lobby. Zoro was kind of supposed to be Wano, but One Piece Film Red kind of ruined that. So every Straw Hat has had their arc except Usopp, honestly.
Yeah, you know, and other people are passive, or we know that they won't necessarily get an arc. Their thing will culminate probably at the same time of Luffy's dream, like how Brook is mostly there for the journey, but also to eventually meet Laboon. And he's like, "You guys will eventually take me to Laboon, but I want to make sure that this little weird rubber kid wants to become Pirate King." You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like Frankie had his moment with Water 7 joining the crew, but he doesn't necessarily need an arc outside of that. Jinbei's kind of hasn't been a part of the crew, but has had like mini arcs in arcs, more so than any other character. And you know, Marineford, his introduction, Fishman Island, and then Whole Cake. He's had his mini shit throughout, more so than, like I said, any other Straw Hat. So it's kind of time for Usopp.
Yeah, Usopp will finally get his thing. I'm sure it'll come with the reveal of Usopp. You've already are a brave warrior of the sea naturally. But I think the important thing is he needs to, one, acknowledge himself, and two, be acknowledged by the Giants because he respects them so much.
And see, I think the Giants will do it anyway, like you said, because of like what they know from Hardin, what they know from the Water 7 Giants. But like you said, I think the important thing is Usopp acknowledges himself as a great warrior of the sea.
Well, I think, like I said, I think Usopp will probably uncover something. He'll probably maybe even have to match witch with Loki, who we know is the current king of the Giants. Loki obviously will probably have some sort of mysterious, like, lying subplot or something. You know, Usopp, I don't know if they'll depose Loki or if they'll just have to maybe, like, take, like the lies away from his eyes and show him the real path of the world and show him that the Giants have to step up. You know, things of that nature. I think Usopp will become a great warrior of the sea and become, like, Usopp, friend of the Giants, or Usopp giant friend, or Usopp the littlest giant, some sort of title like that to go with this God D Usopp thing.
Any possibility for Usopp king of the Giants? Or is that asking for too much? Also, if you want to do your camera, because you kind of smudge a bit. But yeah, is there a chance for that? Because I saw you said about will they usurp Loki, or will it be like an opening eyes situation? Is there a chance you get Usopp king of the Giants, not as an official king, but that's his just title he goes by, that the Giants bestow on him?
The Giants are very prideful people, but I do think maybe they let him do something like that off rip, or even I could even see it being less of like maybe an Usopp king of the Giants, more of like, hey, by the way, Usopp, just so you know, if like a raiding party is ever around, we will let you take command of a raiding party. Like, because he needs to get his like 1,000 men or whatever. So even if it's not like 1,000 man army that he's talked about, even if it's like, oh, okay, well, one giant's worth like 100 men, even if he has a crew of like 10 giants deep, that still means a lot, you know? Like, that's an almost unprecedented level of power for anyone who isn't like a Yonko, basically. Really.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. And that goes back to his lie about controlling this army of such and such. Bro, if you have 10 giants, that's to meet your 20,000 human army, you know what I'm saying? Like, or however much he said it was that he was going to get. Do you want to see him get, because I've seen people talk about this for a while, a Mjolnir or some sort of, we've talked about this weapon. I've come to grips with that he won't get a gun. Is there something you'd want to see him get, like an upgraded slingshot? Do you want to see his slingshot eat a devil fruit? Where do you see with power upgrade with him? Because we know he has to get stronger in this arc, because there's no way Usopp right now can fight Van Augur. There's no way.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of down for like whatever they want to give him. I think him having some sort of Mjolnir thing is cool, but I don't know, like, if it's a metaphorical hammer, especially because he does have the hammer he's always had, the fake
he has those 10 tons.
You know, 10, 100, 1,000 ton hammer, all that shit's fake. But, you know, if he had something like
the real
like
one
that,
this time.
Yeah, you know.
And the hammer can weigh as little as a feather when he holds it, but when he throws it, it can become a 10-ton. Or when he hits someone, they feel the 10-ton type, you know, give him like a magical hammer almost.
I mean, what if I were going to give him his power based on what we already know? I would give him. Granted, she'd have to die to do it, but Miss Lemonade Lady's Devil Fruit, where she can turn her mass into whatever. I think there's some upgraded. Yeah. I think it's canon. There's an upgraded fruit of that somewhere that goes even heavier.
I thought the upgraded one was Mock Vice. You know how Mock Vice did the 10-ton thing that was on Hardin, and he had to Hardin had to hold up like 1,000 tons, or however many Mock Vice ended up making. I thought he was the upgraded version. He might be, or he might not be. I don't know. Yeah,
but I don't know. But if we could have his slingshot eat something like that, I think it would work out really well. I don't know. Personally, my thing when it comes to Usopp power-ups, I think Usopp is actually pretty good. I like how he fights. He has like a lot of he has a deep bag of tricks. He does
He
weird
does.
stuff. Right now he's teaming up with Nami a lot, which I think is fine, but if we wanted to have him solo, I think he has to do some more stuff. But
Yeah, I need his observation to go up at minimum.
I think he'll have to end up being almost a Batman figure where, because he's always shown to take punishment a lot like Goofy, upgrade his stamina, make it to where he can take more damage because it's already pretty high, and like make it to where like I think probably whenever he fights Van Augur, it's going to be a case of Van Augur just dealing a ton of punishment, Usopp trying to find a way to lock him down, and then like the last thing that's going to happen is probably Van Augur maybe has some Jetta rights. Usopp has completely like laid traps everywhere, and then he's like, "All right, cool, you're in the middle of my spider web," and then just boom, every trap
Yeah,
goes
I
off,
got you.
and he just locks him down. You know, kind of like
I could
not
also
unlike
see
a
it like
Shikamaru,
that.
like a Shikamaru in the Nara forest with Hidan thing. You know,
I could definitely see that. Also, it makes sense if if Van Augur, reason why he got the teleportation fruit is because opposite Usopp, his he can't take a lot of hits, and that would work really well with if Usopp needs to lay him in traps, like you said, or get one final shot. If he gets a hit off of Van Augur, if it messes him up because he's not good at taking damage, and you could see that being a theme throughout the Blackbeard Pirates as a whole. Like Jesus Burgess wasn't that good at taking damage either. Like
no.
Sabo kind of wrecked him pretty fast.
Yeah, Burgess is very good at fights you know he'll win because he can just smash him down. But when he's fighting
Exactly.
someone who's even roughly even, like it's not like he gets totally dog walked, but like they're not used to it. They are bullies.
Yeah, they
They
are. Like
they
they
set
can't
up
take
shit
hits.
that they know they'll win. You know?
They can give hits, but can they take them? Not so much. Yeah, I
No.
agree. I get down with that, with what you said. Only thing I'm going to say that I need Usopp to do, like I said, he sees his observation is very much different than everyone else's. I need him to be able to tap into that because I would assume his observation would show him where Van Augur would teleport around him. And if he can, like, if Van Augur's thing is teleportation and his thing is predicting where it comes, I think that would be a very interesting fight. It's almost the movable object versus the whatever the other thing is, the unstoppable force. With Van Augur being the unstoppable force and Usopp being the movable object, like can he predict where Van Augur will be to send the shot? Or like you said, he lays the traps based upon where he moves, and then Van Augur steps into it. But he needs observation to do that, I feel.
Or he needs observation, or he needs to find a way to like fuck with Van Augur's shit. Like because keep in mind, he is also a bag of tricks, he's a trickster, he's a liar. If he can find some way to be like, I don't give a fuck what your observation says, like this is some real cartoon logic type shit or whatever, or maybe if he could team up with like Nami a little bit and do some of that illusion magic she's done before that she's kind of let fall by the wayside, I think that
She
would help.
did. She is 100% Zeus bound now, bro. All that other pre-time skip stuff she was doing, she is not rocking with that shit.
Yeah, she's completely
Okay.
turned into just a hard-hitting caster, which I don't hate, but it
Yeah, I
makes
don't
for less
mind.
inventive fights.
True. True, true, true. I definitely see Van Augur being a 1v1. At least that's what I want. Let me not say I see it being that, because you're right. I could definitely see him teaming with Nami, or even teaming with Chopper. For me, I would want it to be 1v1. Let's see some other stuff we could discuss. All
Oh,
right, let's get. Oh, what you got? Go ahead. Before I
well,
bring up
yeah.
this will be the main thing I wanted to do with
So
this
I've
video. But go ahead.
I've I've long been a ride or die at the idea of like Elbath being like a personal training arc, as you're saying,
Oh
including the
yeah, I see.
idea
Okay.
of including the idea of even like some sort of like debut back fight or some sort of like Olympic game situation where like everyone gets to like show their stuff and how much they've grown. Do you think maybe we'll get something like that, or do you think it'll be more straightforward?
Okay,
Because the
so
Giants love
you know me.
contests.
See, you know me. I'm cool with the Davy back fight, but the crew that I want them to Davy back fight, I don't think they're there. I could definitely
Yeah.
see it being the Giants that they Davy back fight with, but man, what a better arc than to have Shanks come in and this is where he meets him, and we get the Davy back fight with Shanks. Like I think that would be the thing that I would like the most. But like you said last chapter, we see Shanks in his boat. I would love that because I think at this point all the Straw Hats have grown, and we've not really seen them together with their strength, full power. Like Wano, we kind of did, but everybody was off. No one really saw it. I think this would be a great time Luffy, Sanji pulling out Ifrit, showing everybody his cyborgness, Zoro showing King of Hell, like Robin doing her demon mode, and like they could help each other out. I would love for this to be the training arc. Yes, like this could be, and honestly, while they're doing the Davy Bag fight, like they could. Oh, and speaking of, if you want to make it the Giants, Usopp challenges Loki to a Davy Bag fight, where he puts up the Straw Hats. Loki has his army of giants, and that's where we see it. If it's not Shanks, that's how I would really like it to go down. Because, like you said, we will see Usopp interact with Loki. What a good way to have it to where he has his crew back him up, and it's like, all right, the Straw Hats are Davy back fighting Loki in the current, I guess, giant pirate army.
Yeah, and like for the first time, like Usopp could be treated as like the captain, which I think Luffy would necessarily be fine with doing at the moment, just because he's like, I know Usopp isn't going to actually go off rip about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think we're going to get one more bite of the Davy back apple. I thought it was going to be Shanks and Elbath versus them, but now he's pulling away. So I can see it being the Giants or Shanks. It ain't going to be both. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be one or the other. I would, if I had to say, I want it to be Shanks, but my head and my heart both are telling me it's going to be the Giants, because why would he be in that boat? Maybe he's going to handle something and he comes back, but that's me being a fan and really wishing. All right, let's get to that last.
Clue what Shanks is I was just going to say, I have no clue what Shanks is fucking doing right now. And I don't even mean that as a slander. I mean, I legit don't know.
No, I agree with you. It's like, Buddy was on his ship drinking. Where are you headed? Are you headed to Blackbeard? And if that's the case, then it goes to my secondary theory I've always had, where Luffy might even get the chance to meet Shanks because Blackbeard takes him out, which leads to Luffy wanting to confront Blackbeard because he didn't get a chance to have that conversation with Shanks. And that makes Blackbeard that much stronger, because not only did he take away his brother, but he took away his father figure, I guess, inspiration to become a pirate type situation, which, I'd be only way I'm okay with that is if we see a full-on fight between the red-haired pirates and we learn about them during the fight with Blackbeard. Like, it can't just be how Garp. Well, no, I guess the Garp fight is a little more, I guess, what you can model off of, because we did get the Garp Kuzan backstory, but it'd have to be that times, I'd want to know about Ben Beckman. I'd want to know about Yasopp. Like, you'd have to commit to at least giving Ben Beckman, Yasopp, and Lucky Roo all stories throughout this fight while giving Shanks' story, which is a lot at this point. Yeah.
It would have to be Shanks' piece for a while.
Yeah, it would have. And I'm not opposed to that either, But if you're gonna do that, you have to do it that way. Just like with how it was Odin piece for damn near 50 chapters. Like Shanks is a character that commands that. So let me ask you, since we're talking about Shanks, let's get to the panel that everybody was excited about. You gave such a great take on Garland. Let's talk about that mysterious character. Do we feel that's a God Knight? Do we feel that Shanks is twin that talked to the Gorosei? Do we feel that is the man marked by flames? How, if it's the man marked by flames, then that's someone that's not necessarily with the side of the Marines, which if you count it, I mean, if you really look at it, you can see that, they have Akainu, they have Emu, they have Garling, but like, who else on there is for them? And I would say everyone else isn't with them. Is that guy with the sword with them? That's the question.
So I don't know. I'm putting my money down, my non-existent amount of money, that it's the man marked by flame, just because I think that's simplest. Like, outside of whatever else he is, if he's like another son of Roger, or a clone, or a seraphim, or Shanks' brother, or whatever the fuck we want to say, whatever else, he's at the very least the man marked by flames. I don't know anything else about that man yet, because Oda didn't fucking think about making that man at the time.
Yeah. Facts. This is something
new. And it's very possible he'll have ties to other people, but again, that's pure speculation at this point. I don't think there's really anything one way or the other about it. I feel like whoever it is, it's definitely someone who feels like they are kind of like a watchman for Roger, like kind of like how Kaido was trying to be like a gate for Joy Boy.
Oh, you're saying this is the guy guarding Laugh-Tail. Oh,
yeah.
Is that Scopper Kaban? I don't think it is him, but
if it ain't Scopper, I think it's possible maybe like Scopper's like either, if not son, maybe like a mentor, like a mentee type thing,
Gotcha.
Like,
because that sword does look like Roger's. Like, if anything,
it does look like Ace the sword, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, or we might even see them being sort of like a Yamato figure for Odin, except it's like a Roger figure, you know. Which I'll be honest with you, if that's the case, then it just again feels like I think Oda regretted killing Ace, and now we're having like a second pseudo Ace.
He literally split him up. Sabo is the half of Ace that had the power and then gave the power its own character, and this is the half where this is the
if
guy
he actually gave a fuck about Roger, yeah.
Yeah, facts. I'm gonna place my see. I was thinking God Knight, but as we were talking, it's like, why would you have another God Knight on here you're hiding his face?
I might be cooking. What if the Man Marked by Flames is someone who actually like fought Ace or got burned by Ace in the past because he cared so much about Roger? Because he cared so much about Roger. You know?
I like that. I could get down with that a lot what if that's how, you know, I mean, Ace always knew Roger was his dad, but what if that was someone that was, you know, trying to put his business out there, and Ace had to stop that shit and explain to him why. And maybe that's, you know, one of the reasons why that guy never came out and spoke and just stuck to his mission of making sure he found the right person to follow Roger's will. I could totally see that.
Especially if we work under the idea that it's possible Shanks was trying to bring the devil fruit to Ace. I don't 100% rock with that, but I do get why people feel that way. So maybe he's part of the greater stealing the devil fruit conspiracy, and then one, having Luffy eat it, and two, you know, seeing that Shanks wasn't going to step in and be Roger's guy. Maybe he's like, all right, fuck it. I guess I'm just going to hold the door, and I'll see
Shanks didn't do his job.
Do it, you know?
And he might not, and you know what? He might not like Luffy because he doesn't feel Luffy's worthy, and that's where Luffy has to fight him to prove his worth type situation.
Yeah.
Because he felt that Ace should have gotten this power. This power should have never come to you. Because now that we're talking about this out loud, I really don't think it's a God Knight now, because why would you have another God Knight silhouetted of someone we don't know? This has to be someone of importance to either the One Piece, because that's what this is. I think you're actually cooking. If it's not this that you're saying, I could totally see the Shanks clone thing, maybe, because then that would be someone that ties to Emu, and he is like, I can't let someone get the One Piece on the reverse situation of that's why he was going to talk about a certain pirate. We always thought it was Blackbeard, but no, he's going to talk about Luffy. I can't let this kid get the One Piece because he is someone that, you know, would cause problems. That's the only way I could see it being a God Knight, if it was Shanks's brother situation where, you know, they have to keep that identity secret, and his only mission is, in the reverse to what you're saying, his only mission is to stop people from getting the One Piece, where the other guy, what you're saying, is someone who protects the One Piece and makes sure the person who gets it is Roger's will.
I feel like whoever this is has to be someone who has almost been either set upon by themselves or the world as its role, because they're not a Yonko, they're not exceptionally infamous, they're not a pirate legend. They're someone who's trying to keep it on the DL and seems to have a boat/power that helps them keep themselves on the DL. You know,
and the only way we've seen this person is when they mentioned the One Piece, so it has to be something tied to that.
I mean, even Blackbeard doesn't know about it, but Aokiji, being an admiral/fleet admiral contingent, vaguely knew about him. So whoever it is has been keeping himself under wraps a good long time.
Yeah, I could get down with that for sure. Anything else you want to discuss? We hit the 33-minute mark, so I said we'd go about 35 minutes talking theories. I think we got a couple good ones. Your theory about this guy. We talked Myth. We talked what we expect from Elbath. Anything else you want to do real quick before we finish up?
Not so much, other than I'm excited. I don't know what we're doing from here on out, other than we're going to Elbath, and it's a good time to be a One Piece fan. The last time that I was on... Whenever I started becoming a regular on this network, we were just entering Egghead, ending
we were.
You know, and I think a lot of people agreed that we thought Egghead was going to be like a little transition, a little thing where we're going to hang out a little bit. Because we were dumb and we took Oda at his word. I'm not making that mistake again. Oda has been using Elbath for longer than Wano. I think we're going to be chilling in it for a while, and we're going to see a lot more of that. And now for something completely different, around the world type shit. I don't think we're really going back 100%. To not having occasional breaks to talk about the world no more because Oda don't have time.
No, we're here. Yeah. I was one of those people that was like, oh yeah, we'll stick to Elbaf for a little bit, but we got to keep the story moving. No, I think you're right. I think we're gonna be in Elbaf as long as we need, and the way that we get around that is like you said, this is going on at the world. This is going like I can see us cutting over to Weevil. I can see us cutting over to Crossgill. I can see us cutting over to Dragon. I can see us cutting over to God Knights. We're at that point in the story where Wano was the last time where we focused solely on the Straw Hats. Wano was his gift to himself. Wano was his thing where if I have to have the Straw Hats be isolationists for one last time, it is now. After this, I just have to keep the faucet on because I can't turn it off because we're keeping the faucet on until the pool's filled. And, the pool being filled is One Piece ending. So yeah, I don't see this faucet stopping.
Elbaf, Lodestar/Roadstar, and then after that, Laughtail. Like
the Laughtail War, yeah.
So we got 3 confirmed islands. Don't get me wrong, I don't think we're going to spend forever at Lodestar, but it is a named island and it is important. We will be going there. It will be its own little arc, even if it is a small one. But that's 3 islands left, baby, and everything else around the world.
Yeah. So very interesting. I'm
excited.
To see. We have chapter 1122 coming up this week. I will be reading the spoilers come Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Verse and I will do the review. And if it's Friday, it'll be out that night. So Saturday morning. So expect another One Piece video sometime later this week, which will be the chapter review, and then we'll do another one of these after the next chapter. But the next time you'll hear from Versen and myself, we're going to be doing an anime talk manga melee fusion video where we're going to be talking about the best mangaka today. We'll be talking about My Hero's ending. We'll be talking a little Don and much, much more. So be on the lookout for that. But Versen, tell the people they can follow you on social media.
You can follow me pretty much anywhere at Versen the Vassal, or you can follow me if you use my government name, Joshua Trosclair. Cool things happening, mostly in the background these days. But, last thing is just thank God that I was born a One Piece fan. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Facts. You can follow me at LynBWT. Follow Bros Who Think at Bros Who Think. Like I said, we got the One Piece chapter review coming up later. We got the anime manga video as a whole dropping sometime Monday, Tuesday-ish. You can expect it around then. A work shoot show video will be out by the time you guys hear this. And then my predictions video will be out after Monday Night Raw. The Bros Who Think podcast will be out Monday. And Bros Who Binge is out now. But the SDCC San Diego Comic-Con Bros Who Binge will be out Thursday. We got a lot to discuss. Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom, and I'm freaking out. So be on the lookout for that. Until next time, for Versen, my name is Lyn. You guys have a good one, and peace.